YouTube, what's going on, guys? We're going to go through every single Team Affinity card, and I'm going to rank them all, tell you which ones I like, which ones I'm not so keen on, and that's pretty much it. It's going to be just, I'm going to pick what I think is the best one from each, and then, you know, the rest are just whatever. Most of them are pretty good, but some of them are like, there's some cards that are definitively the best options in their division. And then there are some that you should take first no matter what, because of the way it helps you get progress. And we'll talk about that in a second. We'll start with the AL East, and then we'll go to the NL East after. Let's go to the cards here. First, we got Cedric Mullins. I'm gonna move my face out the way for this entire video for the most part, so you guys can see all the stats. All right, so Cedric Mullins. I know at first you see the power versus lefties, and it might be a little concerning, but the way the ball's flying this year, I think it's not that big of a deal, especially with his swing. Only has one quirk, situational hitter, which isn't bad. If you like Cedric Mullins, this card's going to be very solid for you. To me, he screams more of corner outfielder, like a left fielder especially, because he's not fast enough, I don't think, to play center field. But he's good enough to play left, and the arm is not good enough to play right. So he's a little niche. I don't think he's the best card in this pack, but he's still very solid. If you're a Baltimore fan, it's not a bad choice. If you like Cedric Mullins, you'll be all right. Youkilis. I think this card has a ton of value. The offensive numbers are great, including a solid vision rating for the contacts and the powers. It's really right there with it. The clutch is nuts, and low discipline does not matter, so it's great that it's low. It just doesn't, it's whatever. Keeps the overall 89. Fielding, 87 reaction with 85 fielding at first base and third base as a secondary, where he's still a gold, is incredible. I think this is a very good value card with the quirks that he has. Dead Red will help him hit the ball even harder on fastballs. First pitch hitter makes the PCI even bigger on first pitch. This is one of the cards that I'm really high on, and I think he's got a great swing. I actually really like this card. I think he's great. Gary Sanchez, the big boy, fits the Buxton boost that I'm running with cards under 60 vision. The contact versus lefties, I don't think early game is going to make that much of a difference. I really don't. PCIs are huge right now as we get through veteran, all-star, and Hall of Fame with pitchers that have lower hits per 9, man. And his swing, we know, is incredible. A low clutch rate, so I guess I would take that in consideration. But when it's still higher than his contact versus lefties, it's not that big of a deal. It will hurt him versus righties. Fielding, 70 is more than good enough behind the dish. 97 arm's actually a cannon. He also has catcher pop time, which is hilarious. He can't block it at all, so don't spike a ball, and his speed's meh. But on the Buxton team, there's just a little bit of tidbit. It doesn't take away from the ranking here. He does get plus 15 powers, which essentially maxes him out. He gets plus 10 fielding and plus 10 speed. Just keep that in mind. I know it's not going to really impact it that much, but just keep it in mind. Evan Longoria, really well balanced. Contacts or whatever, powers are great, vision's solid, clutch rating's okay, fielding is insanely good, and he's got double speed. The only hit for Longo here is he only plays third base, but it's not that big of a deal, I don't think. I think Youkilis is still a better choice than Longo just because he could play third and first. That's just kind of how I think about it. I know Longo's got better defense, but I don't think you're going to notice that much of a difference. And I think Youkilis is a little bit better of an option because of that flexibility. But he's still pretty solid. Sean Green, the numbers versus lefties are a little meh, but with his swing and the way the game's playing this year, I think he's going to dominate. He's basically free versus righties, like a free bomb every time. Solid quirks. He does not play first base on this card, which ultimately hurts him big time. And he does not fit a Buxton boost or anything that's like kind of meta right now. And I think he'll play an okay right field. I think he's a DH and maybe a corner outfielder, but I don't think he's the pick. I think he's fun, and he'll probably outperform what the expectations are on offense, but overall not going to give you the best value. So with that said, I think the best card for everyone's value here is probably going to be early game, Gary Sanchez. And I think very close behind him is Kevin Youkilis, and the rest, they're not bad. You could pick them, and it won't be that big of a deal. I don't think it's going to hurt you if you have any of these guys. It's not like, it doesn't matter. Once you get one, I feel like you fly through the rest of them. That's what I think for the AL East. On to NL East, the pack. First up, David Justice from the Braves. And the numbers versus lefties aren't looking great, but he's got an incredible clutch rate and very solid vision rating for this point in the game. And I think, again, with the way the game's playing and all these quirks, he has like every quirk in the game, including pinch hitter, he's going to play up big time with that swing too. But all that considered, he is a really poor defender, and I think he's a DH. So that's going to hurt him in the long run. Stanton, next up for the Marlins. Nuts offensive numbers. The vision's really low, but again, Buxton, I won't get too much into that. Clutch rating's pretty good. Fielding is honestly solid, and the speed is not bad. He's honestly pretty good in right field for what it's worth. I think he's very well balanced. No quirks because he didn't play last year. I think that's how that works. For me, on his own, he's pretty damn good. On Buxton's team, he's incredible. He gets plus 15 powers, plus 10 fielding, plus 10 speed. It covers all of his weaknesses on the defensive end very well. Very good card. David Wright, one of the most balanced cards here. What hurts him? No secondaries, but he rakes. Again, the power's a little low versus lefties, but the way the game's playing, it's fine. Great clutch rating, solid defender, and really good quirks to help him out. I think he's a good choice. Billy Wagner, in a time of the game where there's just really not that many good pitchers, he's got the clutch, got the hits per 9, decent control. Doesn't have outlier, which would be very nice. He'll help you. He'll help you. Is he the pick on his own merits? Probably not, but absolutely definitively has to be your first choice from the NL East, and I'll tell you why in a second. Next up, Vlad. Well balanced, but the fielding is meh, speed's meh, arm is great. If you like Vlad a lot, he will be a cheat code for you with all these quirks, and he'll be one of the best DHs in the game. He's going to play up. We know how this card plays. We've used this card already in 22, I think we did. Very solid. Overall, the best card in this pack, I think I might go with Stanton, to be honest, because he could play right or left okay and have the power and the swing. But Vlad's right there, too. It's just surprising that Vlad is that much worse on defense than Stanton. It's interesting. But I'll tell you why you take Billy Wagner first. Go down here with me. Single player missions all the way down here. Repeatable. 3 innings pitched in offline DD game modes with Wagner. And it's repeatable. You get 10K points to TA. I flew through the NL East because of this. There's only one other division that has this capability, and it's the AL West, and we'll get to that in a second. But for that reason, take Wagner first, because then at that point, it doesn't matter who you take first. You'll get all of them really quickly. On to the next. AL Central. No, Central not. Central does not work for Central. Really quick, it does not work because Zach Greinke's a starter, and he's in here as well. He raises the cap to 9 innings because he's a starter. Starters have 9 innings. That's why. For multiplayer, though, it's only 3 innings. And you get 15, so might be, but you can't use him in the event right now. It's kind of bugged. I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, back to the ranking. Jose Abreu, offensively, a demon. Defensively, he's not great. After a few parallel levels, he'll be a bronze, which I guess is workable, but really he's going to be a DH, but a damn good one at that. He's pretty busted offensively. I think he's got a great swing. No quirks, though. No quirks. Clase, I'm not a fan of this card. His stats look good, but I think it's misleading. He throws either something straight or something that goes into a lefty away from a righty. It's very easy to keep track of it. It's not, I think he gets crushed. I don't think he's worth it, to be honest. But if you like him, go for him. Pudge, if there were a way to boost his power a little bit more with a captain, maybe. I like his swing. He's got good quirks, but a lot of people don't really like him. If you really need a catcher, go for it, but I think there are better options like Gary Sanchez, personally. I don't think you need that many contact points this early in the year. I really don't. On to the next one, Zach Greinke. Really well balanced, decent velo for a Greinke, solid control, and especially since it's 71 walks per 9, but he has 83 velo and no outlier, so he'll dot no matter what. I've used him already. He's very solid, and I think if we're able to hit with him, it'd be cool too. But he's a great fielder too. Fun fact: got meta pitches. I like it. I took him first. Brian Dozier, honestly, really well balanced. Only plays second, but I don't think you need him to play anywhere else. He'll be pretty reliable. Hitting is across the board solid. The clutch is kind of low, but again, this point doesn't really matter. Quirks are good. You just got to get past his weird stance. But if you can hit with him, he's really solid. Overall, I think the best card in this pack is Greinke. I think we're desperate for starting pitchers that can be reliable, and I think he kind of fits that bill. I think after that, if you're looking for an offensive player, it'd be Dozier. But not anything crazy in this pack. They're just okay. NL Central, Sammy Sosa. Man, do I wish he had one less vision point for that Buxton boost. But very reliable 5-tool-ish card. He's got the pop. The clutch is there. The fielding's there with the arm and the speed. I think Sammy's a very solid choice for the NL Central. If you like his swing, he'll do the thing for you. Next up, Joey Votto. Good enough at first base. Offensively, he's going to crush righties. And the clutch is solid. I think his power versus lefties might be a little undervalued. I think if you like his swing, he'll do well. But to me, if you're going to have low power versus lefties and low contact, it got to be one or the other, man. It can't be both. I think going for a pinch hitter, especially one with not many quirks, is not really a solid choice. But if you really love Votto, he's got a great swing. We know this. Yasmani, baby. Solid defense, slow as hell, but can catch and play first, and he's got the power. I think at this point, it's pretty easy to say he's the best pick, right, from this pack. Other than, he's a switch hitter with a great swing and pop and great defense. It's hard to argue with that. Really hard to argue with that. No quirks, though. A.J. Burnett. Really solid pitcher for early game, but no slider is a killer. Nothing that moves horizontally other than a knuckle curve slightly, but that doesn't really count. It's more of a tomahawk break. To me, it hurts him not having anything like a slider. So, unfortunately, not going to go with him. Jack Flaherty, a pretty solid option. Especially with the lower velo. He can kind of dot with the pitch mix. He's not bad. A little bit like a diet Greinke in a way. But to me, it's Yasmani, and then Yasmani, and the second close behind him is Sammy. But if you want a pitcher, Jack's a little bit better. But to me, I think it's Yasmani. I think it's a pretty easy choice. No fast track way to get to the NL or AL Central, by the way, guys. AL West. The same thing applies that I said for Wagner, just for Raisel Iglesias or Jose Leclerc. I think Iglesias is going to be better earlier on in the year, even though he's got one less pitch, because he's really well balanced. Control and hits in K per 9. But Leclerc has that incredibly high hits per 9. and solid velo. No outlier, but really solid velo. So if you want him, go for him. But I think with that control and a sinker being his 5th pitch, it's going to be hard to dot with him, but go for it. On to the rest. Carlos Correa. He has a new swing this year. It's very slappy, like an old Carlos Correa swing. Really well balanced. Speed's good enough to play shortstop, but he only plays short. Not that big of a deal. Got a really good arm. A little slower, but he's a bigger shortstop, so he can cover ground a little bit more. If you like Correa's swing, he's going to be solid. The only negative is it contact hitter versus lefties because of that the ratio between the contact and power. But again, the game's playing really well this year with hitting and exit velos, so not a bad choice. Rysel, I already covered him. Like him a lot. We need bullpen help early on. I hit him really well, but I think he does well for me when I use him, so it's not that big of a deal. Ricky Henderson, people are gonna like kind of just run away from this card because of the power versus righties. But early game, with the way the game's playing and every quirk in the game helping him pretty much, especially dead red and breaking ball hitter helping with exit velocities, I think he's going to be a very underrated pick. And he is a silver defender in left, but he has 85 reaction and 99 speed. He's going to get to damn near everything. And after a few parallel levels, he'll be a gold. I think he's a very undervalued pick, especially if you like hitting Ricky Henderson. I think he's very undervalued. I really do. I think he is. Mitch Redacted, ain't get me to say that last name. Offensively, incredibly balanced. I think he's way too slow to play the outfield, even with the defensive numbers being what they are. I think anything under 60 for a corner outfielder is just too slow. But an incredible DH and a really, really good bat. I don't think he's going to hurt you in right, but I don't think he's going to help you. I think at times his speed's going to hurt you, but I think his arm strength could cover for it in some instances, and his bat will make up for it. An incredible bat with a different swing this year, by the way, and I kind of like it a little bit more. Overall, best card in this pack. I think it's really tough to make this call. This is a very tough one. I think it's preference at this point for position players between Correa and Mitch. And then for pitchers, if you want a pitcher more, go for Iglesias. Maybe Leclerc if you really like him, but I kind of like Iglesias. He's a little bit more funky. I like control at this point. It'll help you in the long run. But for me, it's close. And if you're a dark horse like me and you like rooting for the underdog, go for the Ricky Henderson pick. It's fun. But nothing, again, there's no one who stands out here as like the best. You feel me? So we covered AO West, how to get the pitching done too. If you guys, I'll just show you just again to reiterate. Go to single player missions all the way down. 3 innings pitched with Iglesias and Leclerc and single player. What is the online? It's just 2, but not much of a difference. Online for starters goes from 9 to 3, which is wild. So just keep that in mind. NL West, onto that pack. Brandon Webb, great pitch mix, pretty good stats. The velo is low, but as you creep up a little bit, I think the sinker getting to 93, 94 is good enough, and he's a little funky. And I think it's going to be he's really fun to pitch with. I really think he is fun to pitch with pretty good fielding too. He'll be fun. I'm not sure if he's the best. Charlie Blackmon. Different two-handed finish this year or one-handed finish on home run swings, like no doubters, which is interesting. Power looks low on the surface against lefties. Telling you it's going to play up. The defense, though, is a real killer for him, especially as a primary center fielder. To me, he's a DH. And that clutch rating is nice, or a pinch hitter, so one of the two. On to Justin Turner. I think this card's incredible. He's not an insane defender, but at third and first base, that'd be more than fine. The speed does not matter when you hit like that. And he's got good quirks and a great swing. I think Justin Turner is an absolute nightmare to face if you're pitching. He's going to hit tanks. Very nice leg kick and swing, and he's a lefty destroyer. Very solid card. Tony Gwynn, while I do think hitting is nice this year with exit velo seemingly being up, I do think 42 power is just a little too low for this point, right? And the defense is okay, but the speed's pretty good too. I don't think he provides enough value, but if you really love hitting with Gwynn, he's going to be solid for you, especially with all these quirks. I don't think he's a terrible choice. I don't think he's the first choice. Brandon Crawford, the numbers play, the clutch is there, the defense is there. No third base, which really hurts because he's a much better third baseman. I do think he's a DH. I think 35 speed with 73 reaction is just too slow to play shortstop. So the best card in this pack, I'm going to have to go with Justin Turner because he plays third and first. You can even hide him at second base, and he's got the offensive numbers to back it up. I think to me, he's the clear head and shoulders above the rest. I think he really is. If you need a pitcher desperately, I guess go Brandon Webb. But if you need a pitcher, get them from other divisions, not from this one. I think you go Justin Turner, personally. So that's a really good card. But yeah, that's pretty much all the TA cards, guys. One more thing we'll do is we'll go talk about the cards that are in the Season 1 collection, I guess. These are not... I guess they're technically TA cards. These are I'll show them, but there's no use really going over them. You're getting them no matter what, so there's no choice here. The pack, to me, it's hard to pick anyone besides Willie Mays. He's a 5-tool player, does everything really well, and plays center field. At this point of the game, it's going to be an incredible card to have, and all the quirks you need. As much as I love George Brett, who is the next pick for me, he's not 5-tool, plays third and first, which is cool, but he just doesn't have the same coverage that Willie does. If you love George Brett, though, take him first. It's not going to be a problem. He'll rake for you. Satchel, he's incredible on paper right now, but I don't think he's going to be... He just doesn't... He doesn't give the value that these guys give you, especially Willie Mays. I think the first choice is Willie Mays, and I think if you need a pitcher desperately and if you really love Satchel, go for him, but I think George Brett's going to be a demon. These two in the lineup together are going to be just hard to compete with. But that's it. That's what I got for you guys. That's the entire ranking. I don't think, it really matters in the long run who you take. There's no real terrible choices, I suppose. But let me know who you guys are going to take. If you disagree or you agree with me on certain things, let me know. Catch you guys next video, man. Peace.